Click.
Yes. The
Live?
clickening. Maybe?
I'll click the button, man. You never know.
There we go. We're live.
Stranger things have happened. I mean,
We're live!
hey, we could watch ourselves in Discord if we wanted to. That'd be terrifying. We'd split the universe in half, and next week we'd be covering Windows.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday's bit of a pre-show. We were just talking about Joel getting a laptop that was asleep.
Yeah. In the mail.
Do people just randomly send you laptops that are in sleep mode, or was there more to the story?
No, it was just someone who didn't know tech, and that was actually the ThinkPad X120E, my little mini one that I love, and I got it for like $30 because the person didn't know what it was really, so they just put it on eBay, and I took a chance on it, and it works great. It just turned on. The battery is so good on it.
I've never won the eBay lottery. I've taken a chance. I think maybe 3. Yeah, probably 3 is usually my limit. Just getting. You can't say you got burnt though, because you know you're like, this is probably not going to be what I think it is, or it's going to be busted beyond repair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And my luck always.
I have been very lucky, and 9 out of 10 taking a chance on eBay has been fruitful.
Let's see, out of eBay I usually just get like the random adapters and converters and whatnot. It's like, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Oh, it comes from China. Of course it does.
Yeah.
After 2 weeks, it eventually arrives.
Hi, Arthur. Hi, Brother Jellybean. And hi, Barbrandt. Good evening.
Hello.
Right. Just getting things dialed in. Hey, what's up, everyone?
Well, over here we're getting a slight warmth before like the real cold hits.
It really
supposedly.
sounded like you said we were getting a slight warmth, and I was like, that sounds horrifying. Tell me more.
No, it's supposedly tomorrow is gonna hit 23 Celsius, which is a stark contrast from yesterday's 15.
Wow.
Fire at work. It does keep one busy, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, fire at work for me is the one we've been causing because of the domain change.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can keep that.
So now it's, it could have been so much worse, but there is one particular actor in the middle of all this that and he happens to be the architect behind the network, and he doesn't like people playing with his toys, so he's not giving anyone else the ability to do anything, and he does have another job outside of that. So, we're basically waiting for a while before he eventually gets around to doing the things we ask him to do.
Oh, great.
Oh, boy.
So everything can, like, break in giant stages.
Yes.
Then you go back, regroup, and try again. And it's like playing Civilization over a snail mill.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we're basically doing everything we can to make sure that it is as smooth as possible on our end, and keeping local backups inside our network, so even if people can't access the big NHS network, they will still be able to access their files.
Jill, didn't you go out and have some fun this week?
Yeah, I did. I went to WordCamp on Saturday, and that was really a lot of fun. Yeah, it was neat. I got to meet one of our people and one of our supporters, and he was a speaker, and it was kind of cool. He said I was cuter in real life. So,
and that was the last we ever heard from Steve.
That's when you immediately go back, oi, what are you saying?
That's not what you do when people call you cute, Pedro.
It is for me.
Well, between that and taking the clothes off, but... Ultimate Chicken Horse, that's the thing. Big update. I think that's what we're going to be playing with this Friday, if you're unfamiliar with that. Monstrosity of a game. But it's fun for the whole family.
It is.
No, it's not. All right. Trying to get everything dialed in, so...
Okay, that goes there, and that leaves just the show notes with some stuff with a light background to create light on the other monitor.
The, oh, Amazon Adventure Time, right? Like, 2 critical cables I needed have not shown up yet.
At Prime money, go into good use.
Marked as delivered, so it's hard mode.
I had that with the package a while back. It's like, oh, it's been delivered. No, it hasn't. But it had no, it hasn't. And I've asked my neighbors. It hasn't. Okay, give us 24 hours. 24 hours later, knock on the door. Oh, here it is. Ah, there we go.
It's always good. I mean, with Amazon, I wait 30. I think it's 36 hours you're supposed to wait or something like that. But, you know, there's a time delay because most of my Amazon stuff I get delivered to my duplex.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I'm there constantly. And so, like, maybe it'll show up. I'm going to drive over and see if, like, it just got misdelivered and redelivered. And eventually I'm just going to start shipping stuff here because I have a video doorbell that records people. And when they're like, no, we left it on the front door. It's like,
I have video.
it's like, okay, USPS, could you tell me about this new stealth technology you have then? Because IBM Linux 1? That's on Jill's t-shirt.
Yes. Hi, Rohit.
Going to try to get her to wear a Microsoft Loves Linux.
No. They tried to give me one of those shirts. I said, no. I did that. Like, no.
I would have taken it and then created a pyre with it.
Yeah, they were giving them out at a code camp a few years back, and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere near that booth. And they had the Microsoft Loves Linux stuffed penguins, and no, sorry.
No, you make a pyre, you play Weezer in reverse.
No, didn't you see the article? Microsoft is done being bullies.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
This week.
How's that patent case against the NTFS 3G and FAT32 compatibility layers against Linux going?
Hashtag winning.
Yeah, we're done being bullies. We're still collecting royalties, but we're done being bullies. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Pennywise.
You know, I actually have to stop one day in front of the Blazing Saddle store and take a selfie.
You need to do that, man, because talk about a movie that could never get made again.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to check. Willie, are you back? Nope. Guess Willie's dead, man.
Willie!
It's mildly historically inaccurate, Arthur. somewhat, slightly.
It was like the early 90s, late 80s had a bunch of movies like that. Especially like Aeroplane, Blazing Saddles. There were more.
Right. Well, I have 2 channels figured out. This is progress.
How many more to go?
Oh.
I'm going to quit while I'm ahead for this show. Because this interface is like, before you showed up, it had a small seizure. It recovered from it, but I mean, it just like...
Oh.
It's one of the reasons, another reason I'm not running it on Firewire right now, because when it has a hiccup, you're done.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. You're dead. Yeah. Firewire is that way, yes. No plug and play there.
So, we are probably about 5 minutes out from go time.
Okay. Good.
But getting around that cable thing, man, the good thing about doing all this, man, my adapters have adapters. It's like,
yes,
life finds a way. What I have set up right now is like, I won't even take a picture of it.
No matter what you have, there's probably an adapter that connects to another adapter that connects to another adapter that probably you can connect to your PC.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Katana Steel.
Especially now that USB 3 can actually push, like, I don't know, 2 1080p displays without too much of a hassle.
As long as nothing's really moving on them, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're going to get tearing all over the place if you start playing actual video games on them, but yeah.
Or we could talk about everyone's favorite, most confusing interface ever is USB-C.
Mm-hmm.
What is there, like 6 different types of cables?
Yep.
All with the same ends on them, but they do different things.
And then you get the Thunderbolts. It's like, oh, right.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, okay, whatever.
The exact same connector, but it does different things. And it can push an external GPU. Yeah, but USB 3.1 could do that too. But we're not going to let you, because Intel. And
like, why doesn't this work? Because your computer needs to cost $1,000 more, that's why.
Yep.
Not really, but still.
Yeah, no, the Steam box has a USB 3.1 Type-C connector right there.
Mm-hmm. Look at all the devices.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hub. I have like the little miniature hub, which just converts it to a bunch of USB 3s. So it's like, I'm good. I'm happy with that. And I don't know. It works.
Let's see. The previous motherboard that I had with the 8370, that one had 4 USB 2s, 4 USB 3s, and
yes, Sandy, audio channels.
Sandman! Hi, Sandy!
All of the 2 front panel connectors could do 1 for 2 USB 2s and 1 for 2 USB 3s, so could have a bunch of USB 3 ports with that one. This motherboard does not. It has 4 USB 3s, 2 USB 3.1s, 1 Type-C, and 1 2.0. Then you have the front panel connectors.
I had to tap out of I try to do my part and pretend to be helpful, like in Linux Musicians and Linux Audio.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy was trying to do a deep dive, but he got his like, so could I just plug a USB 2 header into a USB 3 on the motherboard? It's like, have fun with that. Let me know if it works.
Connectors are different.
Shh.
You can get a USB 3 connector that outputs into a single USB 3 or two USB 2s.
There's a way. I know somebody asked me about Jack on Twitter. We can't do tech support on Twitter. I apologize. That's just not feasible, but I just got a screenshot of like QJack CTL or Cadence. I forget which one it was. Like just open. Jack wasn't installed, so it was all grayed out. It was like, what's wrong here? I knew what to say, but I'm trying to... no. No. It's best I remain quiet on that one. Alright, so if I move that to subs...
Alright.
That seems about right. Elaine.
Seinfeld. Seinfeld curse. She was probably the only one that managed to break that curse.
Well, then she just decided not to age.
Mm-hmm. It's like the hairdo is a bit different, but that's about it.
When's Doctor Who coming on?
October 7th.
See, somebody knows what's up.
It's the same day or very close to the third season of Man in the High Castle.
Well, it's on a Sunday instead of Saturday, which is weird.
And of course, Netflix is not going to be airing it at the same time, but hey! BBC iPlayer.
Yeah.
After you pay your TV tax.
Yeah, that's the thing. VPN.
What are you going to use? What?
I'm going to VPN to London. It's like, no. I'm watching from London. Shut up.
Live on the internet. I'll use this as Exhibit A.
Or I'll ask Dave to record it for me. Oh man, Dave has been posting pictures. He's building a new PC. I think he's been influenced. So he bought a 2700X, and he was showing pictures of it. It's like, oh, I want one so bad.
You could get
Hi,
one.
Strider.
I could get
Yay,
one, but
Matthew.
they're so expensive.
2700X is not that. They're like $300.
Yeah, 280 pounds. That's a bit much.
How much did the Steambox cost him?
For just the hardware, 474. For everything, about 600 pounds. But that was like over a year.
Just saying, man. I know a guy on YouTube that'll happily buy it from you.
I think it was Renault who was saying, yeah, I might have to pay you to build me one.
You know what they say about Portuguese craftsmanship?
Well, the top fits now. It's still not perfectly flat, but I guess there's only so much you can do with a hairdryer and some hard drives to weigh it down.
Well, it's good to see that there's panels, body panels not alighting, so there's definitely an Italian influence, motoring influence to that.
Yeah, I was there and I saw Zoe do that. It's like, yuck! Oh.
Yeah, no, Zoe's shards are evolving over time.
We encourage our listeners in arts and crafts.
But it's very well done, Zoe. It got a reaction. I got...
we're good. Let me get a drink.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
No, there was another one that Zoe did a while back. Let's see. Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah, I love that one. That's one of my, that was a couple weeks ago. That was one of my favorite ones because it's just really cute. Cute pictures of you, Pedro. RTX on and off.
I like just random fedora. Okay, alright. I did used to have like random hats in the background while I was at my university place. That was a long time ago though. The lighting. Oh, there we go. There's another one. No, I do not, Arthur. That was good for a joke, and then the punchline hit. So, nope.
I haven't even gone a full minute, really?
Yeah.
Can you two behave?
Yeah, no, that's just the stuff that Zoe sent me. I can only imagine what lives on her hard drive.
All right.
That's a good use for a Zippo.
All right. We'll see if we can make this thing explode.
Blam!
Oh.
That and that. Okay, let's do a show. Let's put on our game face. What?
No. I put on a face.
Schrodinger's face, because I'm looking at you now. Did I cancel the face by observing it?
No. People who are watching the live stream can see it. That's it.
All right. That's lined up. Let's try this. What's it been? 3 weeks? Still haven't remembered to get the clapboard. Professionalism, ladies and gentlemen. All right, how we run this? Pedro, you opening?
I thought we were doing the rotation thingy. That's why I put it in last.
Okay, fine. OpenShot 243 brings stability improvements. That kind of hung my X session, and Zombie Mir has returned from the dead with a 1.0 point release, and it hungers for kiosk.
GitHub's annual Hacktoberfest is back and celebrating its 5th year, and you don't have to submit code to join in on the fun. There is a new PeerTube mobile client for Android. Will the P2 Play app help PeerTube gain traction?
OwnCloud is still kicking. It even has a bit of an update, and Solus gives you a new ISO. It has all the 9s.
You're supposed to say it's a great day from you were closing. Come on.
Oh, okay. Stick around, ladies and gentlemen. There's a whole lot of Linux news coming up.
Because it's another great day.
Because it's Wednesday. It's a great day for Linux.
It's another great day for Linux, everyone. So let's go.
Let's go.
This is gonna
I
be
didn't know
fun.
I was supposed to do that part.
You said you were going to go last. And welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we take that midweek break, sit back, relax, and talk about some of the fun things going on in Linux, open source, floss, penguins, you name it sometimes. I'm Vin Stone. That's Jill Bryant. And all the way to the right on the island, that's one Pedro Mateus. Joining us live, everyone in Chat Room Dynamic. What's going on, beautiful people?
Well, over here, I learned the hard way that NVIDIA still hasn't pulled a summer when it comes to their drivers, because for anyone watching, if you stuck around for yesterday's attempt at a stream, that relies solely, that was completely the fault of the NVIDIA beta drivers, so sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh, poor Pedro. And last Saturday, I went to WordCamp LA, the local WordPress convention, and learned about the new WordPress editor, Gutenberg, and even got to chat about Linux with one of the speakers, who is also an LGC supporter. Hello, Joseph. He was Joseph Dixon, really nice guy.
Right on. I thought I was going to have like a bunch of crazy stuff to play with. Turns out it didn't, because Linux is too easy. I want to switch over to BSD. I thought I was going to be spending an afternoon playing with interfaces and FireWire. No, turns out not the case. It just worked out of the box. So what do we need to start off with this week? Not Oktoberfest, but it is the season for Hacktoberfest, Joe.
Yes, Hacktoberfest 2018. This is GitHub's annual Hacktoberfest is back and celebrating its 5th year. And it's a great way of encouraging people to contribute to open source projects. And all you have to do is submit 5 pull requests to open source projects between October 1st and the 31st. And the first 50,000 people to complete the challenge will earn a limited edition Hacktoberfest shirt. So it's all cool and good.
Yeah, no. They say in the announcement that last year, 30,000 plus people from over 100 countries, 119 to be exact, could have just said that, submitted almost 240,000 pull requests to all kinds of projects. Yes, last year you weren't owned by Microsoft. I am kind of curious to see what the numbers will be this year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. So one thing I loved about this article is they had a link to a really excellent guide on how to contribute to open source for first-timers and veterans alike. And of course, there are many ways to contribute to open source, not just writing code, but helping organize a project, planning events and conventions, creating artwork, and writing documentation. So for all those out there who don't code, you still can contribute in so many ways to open source. And it's awesome.
Indeed. OwnCloud, it's a thing. It's got a client.
Indeed. And OwnCloud, you may remember it from a long time ago, where it was basically the one bit of software that would let you do, let you set up your own cloud file syncing client, all completely open source. But then something happened, and some of the people behind it moved on to Nextcloud. I honestly can't remember all the details of what happened, but it wasn't pretty. So, Nextcloud seemed to be the one that got all the momentum and got all of the quote-unquote talent behind it. But as it turns out, OwnCloud is still very much around, and they've put out the new 2.5.0 release, and they have a virtual file system, which is still in the tech preview, and what it does is it lets you pick which files to synchronize down to whichever client machine you're using and which ones to keep online. That is a very good thing to have, especially now in the age of SSDs, where storage, even though not as much right now, but storage still comes at a premium if you're living in SSD land. So that's a very good thing to have.
And sync performance was improved by reducing unnecessary file scanning. This is great for example, if you have a change a small file in a directory with lots of files, it will upload much faster. So that's a really, really nice feature. And the OwnCloud client also does checksumming with the server, which is really, really awesome, so that when you upload and download a file back and forth, it checks if the file was corrupted during the sync. and thus preventing lost files. So
and preventing malware from making it to your server. Yeah,
exactly. Definitely.
That's really a interesting thing. I did look. They do have enterprise stuff available.
Yeah.
I took a peek at that. Yeah, that is priced at enterprise stuff too. So might want to bounce away from that. Have either of you ever used OwnCloud?
Nope.
I really like the idea behind it, but I've never used it.
Yeah, never used it. Yeah.
All right, something to take a look at. ClipOS is a French operating system, and it's seeing its first alpha release of the ClipOS project. This is basically what the government spooks run in Space France, isn't it?
Yep, that's what they were doing. Their previous versions, they were all very well kept secret. Because it was, they had to worry about security and they had to worry about people possibly stealing government secrets, so they kept it under wraps. But with version 5, they're making it wildly available. So that's good. That's very, very good, especially since it's relying on open source technologies for not just the base OS, but all the software that it runs. So, yeah, it's good to see.
That's kind of neat, man. I mean, UEFI... Secure Boot, system-wide enforced file system integrity protections, enforced distinction between applications, binaries, system data. Jill, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought it was cool that this is based on Gentoo Hardened, which is a Gentoo project that offers multiple additional security services on top of Gentoo Linux. And Katana Steel in chat says he's really enjoyed Gentoo Hardened and said it was a really fun and sleek interface. And this actually, Gentoo Linux makes sense because it is very fast, modular, configurable, and runs well on embedded systems.
Yeah, and if Google decided to use Gentoo to create Chrome OS, it's probably not all that bad.
So would anybody actually run this at home? Or is this kind of a curiosity? You're like,
no.
Well, it may be good for research purposes.
Well,
on a laptop, like a laptop you don't use very often, yeah.
It does take a while to install Gentoo, so.
I think in all fairness, everyone's had that Gentoo experience. It's like, well, yes. I've done that. Where's my merit badge? Okay, let's put something else on here. Back from the dead. Mere 1.0.0. This is from the Ubuntu blog. We're pleased to announce the release of Mir. The main things that note with this release are support for Wayland, XDG shell, extensions and improved facilities for customizing display layouts. You're like, what's this going on? Because I was reading through this and I was like, wait a minute. So just coming from the straight on, I was like, has Mir just been reduced to something to be used for digital signage? ?
Yeah, I think they've mostly completely dropped the whole idea. No, it's a new graphical server. It's a competitor to Wayland because that worked so well. Oh wait, the project died in the meantime. Yeah, that did not work well at all. But what they should have done from the start is actually what they're doing now. It's to use Mir as a compositor / window manager for Wayland. That's very broad strokes there. It does much more than that. But for the sake of the less knowledgeable people listening to this, that's basically what it does. It does compositing, does window managing, does a couple of other things. It really works really well for embedded devices because it's a very light set of libraries. It's not even like a full-on graphical server anymore.
That really makes sense, though, because that was the big push behind it. It's like, this is for, the Ubuntu phone.
Yes.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. This was part of their Unity 8 and the future of the convergence of the Ubuntu mobile and desktop. So it does make sense that it's being used for the Internet of Devices.
Yeah, and if only they had done this from the start.
Yes, yeah, very true, very true. Made that distinction.
Hey, no, it was a good thing, but we were talking, somebody in Discord, this was like last week, they said, oh, Wayland's out anytime. I looked it up and I was like, Wayland's been out for a decade now.
Mm-hmm. It's been out for a while.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that Mir, when it was being pushed as like, it's its own thing, would help competition with that. And now we're just kind of back to Wayland and NVIDIA going, no, we're not going to support. We
do things our own way.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm glad it's still around, and I'm sure it will find good uses. YouTube Music.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So specifically, a bit of a client if you'd like to listen to YouTube Music. Don't really care about the videos. And, well, this is a website that you can feed it search terms, and it will give you the option to add specific videos to a playlist, and then you can save that playlist to access it later. They also have a profile, so you can log into your YouTubes and get the playlist that you already have. Honestly, like, the idea behind cloud syncing your playlists and being able to reliably play music from the tubes is good, but YouTube itself already does that for me, and I don't think I've ever felt the need for a dedicated music player that uses YouTube as a backend. Then again, I guess the only need I have for a media player on this particular desktop PC is to sort through the MP3 files that I need to push to my phone.
Yeah.
So, not the target audience here.
Yeah. I am actually the target audience because I like having a separate music player. And I used to use YouTube to play music all the time, and I've actually started using this application Ray instead since the past weekend. And I love the user interface, and it is organized like a good music player should be. And it's really, really nice to be able to create proper music playlists, which you can rewind and fast forward, and also sync to Google Drive is wonderful. Being able to save all your playlists. And I know, of course, on YouTube you could save your playlist, but you don't have as much control over the playlists. And I like the fact that you can play YouTube videos in the app without commercials. And that's always nice. So it makes for a smooth listening of music experience, as well as playing YouTube videos. So that was really cool.
Well, especially...
And of course...
Well, what?
It's just that it is a website, so you could just download the Electron app.
Well,
yes. Yeah, and there is an electric... Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
You mean you can install the portable website?
Yes, exactly.
That's definitely a thing. This is neat. I don't play anything on the desktop because, it's like, meanwhile, in the Vin cave, it's like, okay, Google, play me a song. But even with that is, with YouTube Red, because I can minimize, just have YouTube running in the background. But Jill, you listen to music on YouTube?
Yes, I do. Actually, quite a lot. It's really nice, so I don't have to go through my vinyl records and my cassette tapes and get out some of my favorite tracks.
All right.
So,
do you kind of make it a point to wear like bad headsets so you don't get angry at the quality?
that always is a thing. Yeah, that always is an issue. Yeah, I usually go back and I have all my favorite tracks backed up myself. So,
well, that was one of the things what was it, yesterday or the day before yesterday? I was working on something. It's like, I need background noise. And I just had a tablet with me. I wasn't upstairs. And it's like, I'll put on some Typo Negative. Went to like the official Typo Negative, whoever owns the rights to that page. And it's like, oh, the videos. Some of them were in 240p.
No.
It's like, oh, that's rough. Anyway, go check that out if it's your thing. Is that what the kids do to listen to the music these days on the YouTubes? Or did you use Spotify? Is that a lot easier?
Yeah, Spotify. Yeah. All the social networking.
I guess maybe it's a thing is like this is competing with free. Well, Spotify would be competing with free if you could do
Yeah.
YouTube to PeerTube.
Yeah. So this is a new Android application called P2 Play. For PeerTube, the federated video streaming platform which uses WebTorrent, we have been talking about since April. And I downloaded and installed the P2 Play APK on Android and searched Linux Gamecast at peertube.mastodon.host, and it played our LGC and LWW VODs. It worked very, very well. And it is a work in progress, and it doesn't have a search feature right now, but it will in the future. But it's looking really good. And it worked. It made with the working.
All right.
So
I didn't get a chance to try it out, but this is what it needs, 100%. Because we upload our stuff to PeerTube, and I think 4, or if we have like a super ratings week, 8 people will
I had one with 14, so that was good.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. But then you feel it's like, oh man, nobody's watching. Then you just look at everything and like then they all have 0 views. It's like, oh, we are crushing it.
Yeah.
No, the thing with PeerTube right now is it's not just P to play. It's the whole of PeerTube, because it's decentralized and it has a bunch of nodes that you can hit that have different videos on them. That's the big issue. If there was a centralized search engine or an app with that said centralized search engine built into it that could access all the nodes and find whichever video you're looking for, that would help.
What are you, the government?
Yeah.
Yeah, the government's going to love the moment that happens because it's just going to immediately go after all the people.
Well, what is on PeerTube outside of like us and French music videos?
Blender videos.
Blender videos. Good point.
Adult videos. Whole movies.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, it does need some type of like setup for that, and I love the idea of it. YouTube desperately needs competition.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
So anything that moves it in the right direction, like this, is good news.
Yeah, and Mastodon's doing well, so let's hope that PeerTube, adoption improves as well.
Right. Pedro, tell me about how easy it is to install NVIDIA drivers.
It's easy enough, but I'll get to that in a second. This is about Solus specifically. That's a lot of S's. And it's Solus, it's the roundup ISO for Solus 3.9999. And you can download it. Basically, if you're already running Solus, you already have all of this. But if you are installing fresh, now you get Firefox 62, LibreOffice 6.1, Rhythmbox 3.4.2, and Thunderbird 60 directly out of the box, as well as the latest versions of Mate, Budgie, and GNOME, of course.
Oh man, they got rid of Spider Monkey. Monsters. Yeah, no, apparently Thunderbird is playing nice with the copyrights again, so it gets included into all the distros. But yeah, it's yesterday, if you watched the live stream, what I attempted to do, you probably noticed that it kept crashing. It crashed so bad whenever I tried to play a Proton game that it took down the entire X session with it. And that's because in Solus, there are two options when it comes to the NVIDIA drivers in the repos. You have the old 390 long-lived branch, and you have the beta 410. And I was using 410 because I decided, you know what, let's try the beta, let's see what it can do. And it failed miserably. But that's NVIDIA's problem. Solus, I would like the option to install something in between, like the short-lived branch, which is currently sitting at version 396. That would be really helpful there, Joshua, Pete, Ike, anyone who's currently working on this, just please.
Yeah, definitely. What is awesome is that this new version of Solus ships with Linux kernel 4.18.5, which provides the latest support for AMD, Intel, and Intel CPUs, including for high count CPUs like the AMD Threadripper 2, which is really awesome. And it needed that, definitely. And they improved the Realtek wireless card and dongle support with enabling the Realtek modules. This was much needed. I had 2 laptops that Solus, my Wi-Fi wouldn't work on Solus because of this reason. So that's why it's getting a mention, because it was an issue.
That's good to know. And as Pedro pointed out, if you have Solus, you already have this. This is just something to keep in mind if you're walking into that. But yes, I'm definitely from the day and age of, should you honestly ever, I mean, you know it's going to work, but do you have any real expectations of Wi-Fi working? And he's like, no, but too many years of this just not working, having to use the binary blob.
No, it's you can still install the NVIDIA drivers from the run file, and they will work until you get a kernel update. Because last time that anyone's tried, the DKMS script that's built into the run file wouldn't work on Solus. So I don't know if that's changed in the meantime. Maybe it has. I actually have to give it a try tomorrow.
This is why everyone should run Arch, right?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, OpenShot 243 released animated mass nudge zoom fixes improved stability and more, and more part. So
improved stability? Has it stopped crashing now?
Well, let's play this game. Jill, you say the nice things.
Yeah. Okay. OpenShot 2.4.3 adds support for creating animated masks, as Vince said, and transitions using images and videos. And this is a powerfully creative feature for artists and is crucial element for any editor to be taken seriously, like that of Kdenlive. And as in the last release, there are a lot of improvements to audio, as the creator Jonathan Thomas has promised. Waveform display rendering is much more precise and easier to edit, and it fixed audio wave files not rendered after completion, which would cause the audio track to stutter when navigating it in the timeline. So they actually did do a lot of improvements with the audio, which I was really happy with, because he, again, had made that promise that he would fix the audio. And FFmpeg 3 and 4 is now supported out of the box for faster rendering of video and audio codecs, and that's always a good thing.
So
Ben had some issues.
From your show notes, I assume that's not entirely the case.
No, listen, I take the Pepsi challenge.
Okay.
This version of OpenShot, like all previous updates that we've covered on this show, it's like, okay, It's an app image. Why not try it? It's a couple hundred megs, download it, chmod it. Good thing I will say is I can finally navigate past the tooltip screen, which up until this release, I could not get to go away. It would not go away. It was like, I'm just kind of stuck here. So I was kind of excited. I was a huge fan of OpenShot for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And before we moved our workflow over to Kdenlive. And, we're not doing ProRes type stuff. We're recording everything lossless, MPEG-4, so lossless, air quotes, and a wave. So I effectively threw our QA session on Saturday at Chairquisition into this. And what we ended up with was a 1.9 gigabyte MKV and an accompanying 88.4 meg WAV file, just to test it out. Dropped them both in there. It's like, all right. It froze. It froze. Here's the freeze I'm talking about. The freeze where you got enough time to open up HTOP. You're like,
oh wow, okay.
It's like, are you doing anything? And it was, and continued doing it. So after about 3 minutes, now keep in mind I am running on a relatively underpowered Ryzen 7 1700 with an NVMe drive.
Yes.
So it took about 3 minutes. Then the clips kind of popped in. I guess it was doing the proxy for him, but it gave no indication. It was like, I'm here. And that's that. They popped in. So I trimmed the clips, took out the razor tool, just kind of chopped. Because I was like, let's see if I can make a Chairquisition. That's how I wanted to do it. And I did that. It took like maybe a minute to cut each one of those. And I was like, okay. Then I made the mistake of highlighting one and hitting the delete button to delete that clip. That's when things got not so good, Brad. Not so good.
Oh.
Yeah, I pressed that delete button. Now, at this point in our story, I was accustomed to the freezes. So it was like, okay, let's wait. You know what? Let's go make some more tea. Came back. X, input, everything locked.
Yeah, I didn't have any problems on my. I actually ran it on my octa-core dual Xeon render workstation, and it ran just fine. To
its credit, it didn't completely freeze X. I was able to drop in. Well, it froze X. I was able to get to a TTY and nuke it and bring it back up. But yeah, that Kill 9. That was my experience, and I'm not poo-pooing on it. And by the way, I am running a rather bizarre, uncommon distro, 1804 LTS. So
yeah, Well, I kind of remember, Ben, you had problems with the last update too, if I recall.
Yeah, I couldn't get past that tooltip screen, John.
Yeah.
That one.
Yes.
Kind of threw a
It
wrench.
wouldn't start.
Yeah. Well, I was running it on 1604 without issues. So.
Well, it's good to know. It's an app image, so go try it, and
Yeah.
maybe you'll have a better experience with it. Katie and Live need something to go against in the like prosumer area before we get into the paid closed source stuff. So, all the best of luck to that project. And just for fun, I threw this in the notes because I remember way back when I wanted to like screw off at work, but I didn't want to like publicize it to everyone. You kind of do that stealth mode. I'm like, listen, I'm procrastinating right now, but I don't need you to know that. So that brings us to redditshell.com.
Yeah, this is having fun goofing off at work, as Ben stated in the show notes. This is Reddit Shell. It's a web-based shell emulator for browsing Reddit via command line. And it's actually works really, really well. You can view previews of the pictures in the terminal. It's a nice feature, and it's really quick. And you have the option of launching a picture in a separate web browser tab as well with the view content command. And I think this is really cool, but I think I would prefer it on a local shell instead, like the Reddit terminal viewer, which is a link in the show notes. So I've used the Reddit terminal viewer many times, and I enjoy that.
Yeah, no, the Reddit terminal viewer is something that I may or may not have installed in the Windows subsystem for Linux for my work laptop.
Cool.
But yeah, no, putting it in a browser is that's basically just step one into justifying someone else into building an Electron app. It's like, look, it's a Reddit command line thing that's an Electron app and uses the exact same amount of RAM that it would to go to the actual website.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
You can have fun with it. This was always my philosophy. It's like when I thought about putting this in the notes, it's like, listen, man, if you're forced to use something like this at work, chances are you're not in a position to be installing additional software at the computer, or you shouldn't be, Pedro. And I'm always careful about that, because it's like if they're looking for a reason to get rid of you, there's one.
No, see, I know for a fact that one of the engineers at another place in the country happens to have a bunch of Steam games installed because his laptop is actively broadcasting every single bit of software that's installed on it to the service desk.
Yeah.
So we know exactly what's happening.
Just remember, Pedro will throw you under the bus first. I don't know. That's neat. I mean, yeah, from the command line, this is just a fun little thing. I think they've made, there's probably versions of this that look like Microsoft Office or Word or Excel. That'd be more frightening. So let's get into a slice of pie. Before that, we want to thank the lovely people.
Yes.
Make this show possible. That's right. No ads. I know, right? But we like to rock and roll with it. Easy way you can help on that. It's at patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. That name again is patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. Pedro, who do we have to thank this week?
We have two names.
Two
Mr.
names?
Colsta, yes.
Wait, Agent Colsta?
Could be. And don't worry, Colsta, we got your message. We very much appreciate it. He's our new Patreon. And Mr. M. Langston has also increased his pledge. Thank you very much. So, yeah, you can be awesome like Colsta and M. Langston by going to, as Ven said, patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. But if recurring donation's not your thing and you'd rather just give us some stuff, you can check out the Amazon wishlist link and the Newegg link. Those are there. Or just get yourself some games with the humble affiliate link. That won't cost you anything extra, and we get a little bit off the top, and most of it goes to charity anyway. So
yeah, it does. Hey man, that's just how I roll. It's get your name and credits. Plus, if you like our content and you're like, man, I wish there was an extra hour of this every week, there is. Something we do. Because 100%, we do consider our patrons our bosses. And so this is our production meeting that kind of catches you up. I'm stretching the truth on production meeting. Because if you condense it down, there's a good 15, 20 solid minutes of actually what we have planned, what's going on, what's in the future. Then it's usually movie and TV shows that we're reviewing unintentionally. But that's put out on your own custom RSS feed. If you like that, but as I said, you get your name in the credits and early access to our uncut stuff, which does go free, access to our Discord, but there's always IRC. We don't like putting stuff behind a paywall. That's not really how we roll. I do need to thank terribly mysterious stranger, who we all know who it is, for a Firewire card and cable from our Wish Zone, which one I put up there. I was like, you don't even want to know what this is for, because this was shiny dangly keys for old man Vin. Like you keep a child amused with. Because I ordered a new piece of kit, our 16-channel interface, and I was like, wait, this has got Firewire on it? I wonder. And, well, it just kind of works. I was hoping maybe to make a video out of that. It's like, this is the struggles of how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I made a video about that, it would be 3 seconds long. It's like, boop, click.
It's the intro, a screenshot, and the outro.
Yeah, mixed with the working.
Here's a very legitimate thing, though. I do need to make that video because that information on the internet doesn't exist. You think I'm joking? I'm not being facetious about that.
Yeah.
Because I searched.
It doesn't.
I wore my Google food out because do I have any chance of doing this? Like, shrug, I don't know. But I really wanted, as Jill would call it, that vintage Firewire sound.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But it does work. It's kind of brilliant. Thanks everyone for making this possible. This is a fun thing. And I think we got some other stuff going on. Like on Tuesdays, you can watch Pedro crash to desktops. It's awesome.
Or crash the entire desktop, yes.
You're just showing off at that. Quit bragging. Jordan does something on Thursdays. It is, it's a carnival. There's no telling what's coming up on that. I know, Jill, you like to join in on that. And you also show up on Fridays. But
Yay!
I don't know. What did we do last week? Portal. Didn't we do Portal last week, I think?
Yeah.
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 Go back and watch that exercise of frustration. If you want to see two grown adults that think they're intelligent, no. It's painful to watch. And we covered some Distance on Friday, which was a 1.0 release. And I think this week we're going to play some Ultimate Chicken Horse this Friday.
Yay!
So that got a big update, and that sounds horrifying. All right, let's just do this slice of pie.
Indeed.
Cool.
So, Jill, you want to tell us about this one?
Yes, definitely. This is Learn Assembly with the ARM-based Raspberry Pi. Awesome. I love assembly. Assembly, if no one knows, is a low-level programming language whose statements correspond to machine code architecture. And it is great for system on chips and embedded programming, and it is also used in our computer's BIOS. And so, oh gosh, it's really awesome. There's a really nice book, a link to a book on running the programs on the Raspberry Pi and how to install them. It's very in-depth. It's basically a textbook. And it's very well done. I read through about the first 10 pages. It was awesome. And this is actually one of the first languages that I learned on my Commodore 64, my Atari ST, my Apple II, and x86 PCs. And did lots of hacking with this programming language back in the day.
Assembly isn't on ASM. You mean NASM?
Yes.
I can have more. It's a perfect little thing to tinker around with. Now, let's just be 100% honest. I'm a huge fan of assembly. Just as like a thought experiment and playing with it, not to ever do anything functional. I'm incapable of making anything functional. Maybe not the most practical thing, but I think it's just weird now that you would think, well, let's use something small and simple, like a 1 gigahertz board with, a gig of RAM and, infinite storage network stack. It's like, whoa, times have changed, man.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, it's still used in, the aerospace industry.
Well, if you're going to be doing something, like wicked small.
Yeah.
The only thing I ever did in assembly, well, I learned assembly in university, and the project for the end of that particular course was to code a very simple BIOS for one of the prototype motherboards that we had. And
Yay!
I got a 15 out of possible 20 on that particular project, because a bunch of the stuff, it was there. It just didn't work.
Well, you see, Pedro, as we've learned reviewing games, you had all the right parts.
Yeah. No, I just put them
in the wrong.
They're wrong.
I forgot how that way. It was catastrophically bad. That's brilliant. Go check it out. All this in our show notes, linuxgamecast.com. Pedro wants to hold this over his head in the rain.
No, I want this to be on my furniture so it actually plays music, because someone got an old boombox and they removed all the bits that were broken, put a touchscreen, put a Raspberry Pi and a couple of other things. They wired some stuff to make the original speakers actually. Hey man,
this is a Raspberry Pi project. You got to mention there's something 3D printed in it. It's mandatory.
Of course. They built the entire Raspberry Pi with its case into the boombox, so I guess all of those broken electronics were taking up a lot of space. So yeah, the whole thing works. The buttons at the top are just there for show because they didn't actually make those work. That was disappointing. That would have been nice to get it to work, but it has a touchscreen. You could, yes.
There's a guide and instructions to put all this, plus an accompanying video.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if I'm tearing apart a boombox, I'm making a transformer.
Yeah, no, this one I really liked because it is still a boombox. It still plays the musics, whatever you feed it to. It runs off of the Raspberry Pi, so you can feed it anything. And it still looks the part with a touchscreen in the middle, but it still looks the part, and I want one. I really do.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It runs the Deezer software. Which is really cool. I've actually never used it, but I've just seen screenshots of it. It looks really awesome for this purpose.
I think that's pretty cool. I can dig it. Let's get out of here. But before we do, some people have some thoughts, hints, allegations, maybe some questions for us. Words of advice. Yes. Sage wisdom.
If you're looking for sage wisdom, you don't want to go to linuxgamecast.com, hit the contact button, and
I hear they got a new theme.
Form. Yes, there's like a whole new WordPress theme going on. Make sure not to pick LWDW from the little choosy box, because you will get no such wisdom from that place. What you will get is your comment featured right here, right now.
You know, I'm just going to say, really listen, first of all, I'm not a betting man, but you stand a better chance of doing it that way than with like relationship advice or LGC.
Yeah.
There's the slightest monochrome of a chance. It's a great way to get a hold to us, but I do think we need to put out, you can leave YouTube comments. Those work.
Yep. But if you leave a Patreon comment, chances are you get priority over everything
else.
The
only way your Patreon comment's not getting on there is if it has big bold. You might want to throw a blink tag on it too, just to be safe. It's like, don't put it on the show, which we respect.
Yes.
It's kind of dicey with YouTube. We're not like, we're too good to read YouTube. I just want to point that out, that we all have, what do you call it, admin access to YouTube. And once one person checks notifications, like Pedro just goes, does a vanity check, forgets about it. So I don't even know they're there to put them in the show.
Yeah, no, the blinky stuff just disappears. So, yeah.
Please keep that in mind. Or you can leave a comment at linuxgamecast.com, but then we'll have your information. And then, I don't know, Jill will do something nefarious. We'll sell it.
Yes, Jill of all people will be the one to do something nefarious.
Challenge accepted. All right.
Okay, first up we have Luciano Dato, and he asks, "Hey guys, I'm the author," or he says, "I'm the author of Noise Repellent. Thanks for mentioning my project. Thank you for creating it."
I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat. I was like, oh, wait, what? Huh? And it's like, oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, go back and listen to last week's episode. It's a video I'm eventually going to be setting up. I've had a couple of people ask, and to me this is not hard, but I've been messing around with this for too long. It's a sickness at this point. it's a plugin for live recording that you can set up with Jack and Ardor to do audio filtering for any type of background noise and stuff like that. We have hardware that does that, but this is just like the little extra sauce, and it actually makes a very effective noise gate, even if you don't have hardware gates. So, yeah, man. Hey, Dato, Mr. Dato. How did you say? Is it Dato or Dato?
In Portuguese, it would be Dato.
It's Dato. I don't know, man. You got an awesome piece of work. Keep up the great work. It is open source, and go check that out.
Awesome. Thank you, Dato.
Last but not least, I'm not trying that name.
The Steven?
Aww.
I don't know, man.
Steven.
To Steven. To Stefan?
I don't know.
It's not polite to make fun of people is all I would say. Bats, man. What tools will tell me why my battery drains so fast on Linux? ? BTW. I run Arch. Smiley face.
PowerTop. Just PowerTop.
That's
It will give you the information on which process is pulling the battery for how long, which device is using how much power per second, how many milliwatts it's draining from the battery at any point. It will. It even has like a little preset of optimizations that you can do to your hardware to minimize that stray energy consumption. So yeah, no, just use PowerTop.
It does. I had to carry laptops around for work. Never again. So I'm not familiar with this. Does that tell you what application is taking it down?
Everything. It gives you applications, gives you devices, gives you random worker threads that may be using more power because of some reason.
Does it generate a human readable report?
Yes.
Okay.
You just pass the -- HTML flag to it, and it will generate an HTML file with everything.
Pretty cool. How accurate is it?
Actually, pretty accurate. The one test I saw of someone actually taking readouts from the battery connectors to compare them to PowerTop was a couple of years ago, and it was pretty accurate back then, so I'm guessing it's only gotten better.
How much does this miraculous piece of software cost?
Nothing. It's included in every single distro's repositories and their cats.
Neat.
Yes.
Jill, do you got any tips and tricks for I know nothing about laptops other than something's went horribly wrong in my life if ever having.
You can use CPU-Z to monitor your battery. It is a little better than the typical GNOME applet and whatnot, but it won't show you all the detail, of what apps are using it and whatnot. So using your battery.
What about like integrated graphics? Does it monitor that?
It gives you the driver. If the driver is pulling more power than it should, it shows up as i915 or i965 or the Radeon. Because when I had the netbook with the AMD APU, I also, that's one of the things that drained the most power was the R600 drivers. Like, oh, that's what's draining all the battery. Neat.
Well, hopefully this Linux Weekly Daily Wednesday, this 137 wasn't terribly draining for you, and you'll come back and join us next week when we'll get to do this all over again. It starts at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Moon Time, but we got a schedule on that web zone thing we keep talking about, and go check it out. I think we're gonna maybe bring some music in, roll some credits. How's that?
Oh, yeah.
Yay!
Let's see if this works.
Fort beeps.
Maybe. Nope.
Nope.
Buy me some more
Smell
time.
that? Is that fire I smell?
Aw. Thank you, Chat Realm.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
And LGC original series. It needs that N at the end of A. Yay! Executive producers and producers.
All the lovely, lovely people making this show hat-free. Hat-free or ad-free?
Hat-free.
No hats.
Hat-free, yes.
Yes.
Live, loud,
No
independent, also hat-free.
Yes. Yay! LWW 137.
It's not leet, it's let.
It's lint.
Bye, chat realm.
Bye.
Groovy.
Yay!
And yeah, PowerTop won't even launch unless you run it with sudo, because it needs access to everything.
Everything. Artheron. Oh. Hi, Orn. Orn, you're doing okay?
You asked for that, Jill.
Yeah, no more hats around here.
We finally made Pedro and Ben hat free.
I don't wear, well, no, I take that back. I do wear hats sometimes. Didn't wear a hat to jury duty, though.
Oh, yes.
Well, they sent you packing pretty quick, apparently.
Yeah, it wouldn't match the tutu.
Yeah.
Yeah, they effectively just walked me back. I was like, no.
Very good. That was awesome.
But then they gave me some crazy card. I remember the last time they threatened to give me jury duty. They gave me, it's kind of insulting. They give you a $25 check. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Work on a deep fryer. And that was the thing. So, but they didn't give me a check. They gave me like this fucky little plastic card that I got to call and do stuff. Wait, hang on. I got to ring it.
Huh.
It's like a debit card. I haven't even opened it. I'm scared of it. I don't trust it.
They gave you a gift card is what they did.
I think so,
Yeah.
effectively. I kind of glossed over this. Like, I don't even know what's on this, or I guess there's stuff on it. Whatever.
Orn, I'm sorry you're freezing in college in Sweden, but I'm so happy. I'm so happy you're there and not in Bangladesh right now.
Now, Jill, maybe you can identify colors better. Now, I knew this thing was red.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
That's
like cobalt
garish.
red.
All right, listen, if we're just being honest, that's hooker red. All right, that's what
That'd be more purple, but sure.
it is that metallic, like deep. It's like, oh, it's too much. I immediately thought
crimson.
Once I stuck it together, I was like, I bet Strider would like this.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't stand it. I didn't buy it for the looks though. We got a good deal on that, $265.
That's really awesome.
Better than $265.
Yeah.
As long as the power supply doesn't melt, we're good.
Yeah.
I think it looks nice. I like the red.
I think it's fugly, is what I think it is.
Oh, I like red. I've always liked all reds.
That's a new level of red, man. That's all I'm saying. That's like, oh. Maybe it'll grow on. I don't have to look at it, so whatever.
So it's metallic brush metal?
Yeah. It has firewire. And it's a new device, too. That was like, what? I think it came out in 2014. I think I have in one of the I don't trust you yet not to catch on fire and burn down the studio mode. Let's see if I have one somewhere. That'll show off the hooker redness of this thing.
Vin's got his own red light district.
And now that you say that, in a couple of weeks, Ven's entire neighborhood will have the streetlights replaced with red bulbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd be the first person blamed for that shit too, even if it wasn't me.
Oh my God. When I turned on, I have this really bright, really ultra bright luminescent. It's not LED. It's one of those bioluminescent red strips. Mm-hmm. And I turn it on and you can see the red at night through the windows. And Steven had to point it out to me. He goes, honey, maybe you shouldn't have that color on. And I didn't know what he was talking about. I was just so clueless.
That's how horrifying red this thing is.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that is definitely a cobalt kind of crimson red.
It's a fancy way of saying hooker, but okay. I don't know. I know I didn't come up with the word garish because I looked it up, but it's like, I didn't know I knew that word, but that was my first thought when I took it out of the box. Was garish.
Well, that's why you got it cheap. No, I'm kidding. No.
I've already established that I think it's ugly, Jill. You're not already my hands. I full well knew. I was like, that's got colors on it.
Yeah. Well, maybe your next one could be bright pink.
Hopefully there's not going to be a next one, Jill. These are expensive.
Yeah, I know.
But it's got 16 outputs on it. So.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm.
Blood in a shotgun. Weren't you kids trying to play some like Doom multiplayer the other night? I thought I perused through that in the Discord. And it was like Empty and Strider trying to get multiplayer to work and they couldn't get it to work.
There was something about Doom multiplayer crashing with Proton.
I never tried it. It seems like it'd be alright because it, like in the arenas, it really had that Quake 3 arena feel to it.
Yeah. I think I remember, I may be misremembering, but like when it first came out, people were saying that it uses a slightly different engine for the multiplayer bit. That could be what's causing the crashiness. Let's see.
True.
Doom multiplayer.
How about Brutal Doom? I think what I want to try is the Battle Royale Doom mod. It's in the show notes, Pedro. You should take a look at them.
I didn't check the Linux Gamecast Weekly show notes today.
Put it in there Monday.
Oh, I didn't get that far.
You want to keep tap dancing on this one?
Look, I went to the show note twice yesterday to add things, and they were already there, okay?
He says this. I guess Lutris is probably the best, easiest, cleanest way. Oh, there we go. No, we play Doom multiplayer, like OG Doom, using Proton and Steam. Sounds so dirty.
That's one of the things I still haven't been able to get to work is the workshop mods in Skyrim with Proton.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It just crashes the module that's supposed to load the mods. So you can play the vanilla game just fine. It's the mods that are having none of it.
Yeah, I downloaded it, launched it, immediately uninstalled it because I knew where that led.
I installed it on the Steam box just to see if I could, have the graphics all the way up. It is pretty old, so chances are it probably would be. But I just had to see. And I'm subscribed to like 30 workshop mods, and I can use none of them because the downloader crashes.
Yeah, or in our portal, I like to say, which is factually correct, I start like having, haha, let's have fun with the people watching. Hey, Jordan, I'm so angry at fast forward 30 minutes. I'm legitimately upset at Jordan.
I like watching that.
There's no pretending.
That's what makes it so fun. I'm going to be sad when it's all over. You probably only have one more left. And
maybe if our dumbasses can figure these maps out.
I remember when you started.
Early days. Yeah, like the early days of Ven and Jordan playing Portal 2. Of Ven deliberately fucking with Jordan.
Yeah.
Once I get to the point of no cooperation, it's like, all right. Listen, I'm not the easiest person to work with. Jordan, he's got to stay on top because he formulates plans. He's like, I told you all that. Like, Jordan, you haven't said a word.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chip says there's a fix.
Hi, Chipsy.
Hey, we got through all of the trines.
Yeah.
Arthur, and don't tease about that because the episode
Trying again and again.
Well, it was going to be called Retrine.
Yeah, I remember.
But it takes a level of cooperation to pull Trine off.
Yeah, me, you, and Foxy did it on Friday Foo Bar, and it was kind of a train wreck.
It was hopeless. It's like, I'm no good at trying, but damn.
Me and Foxy were having fun. We were falling down the leaves and going, wee! And Ben was way ahead of us. I was having fun with the visuals.
Oh man, shipping's still jacked up because of the flooding. That's messed up. So if this holds, I think in October will be good if we want to regularly bring at least like one person a month on the show. Do you get anybody in mind, Jill?
Sounds good. Oh yeah, I sure do.
See if you can get a hold of Mr. Gates. Palmer, I'd have Palmer on the show in a heartbeat.
Yeah, let's introduce yet another Steve.
UEFI can die in a fire. Steve Gates himself. Hey? Difficulty. Have to have Windows. I have a copy of Windows NT4 for DEC Alpha.
Oh yeah. If anyone wants a key for Windows XP, there you go.
Pedro. Yeah, we have tons of those laying around. That was funny.
It wouldn't be worth the joke, but these Dells have on the top of them keys for Windows 7. I was just going to grab yours and just rip it out. Hold it up and be like, I got a Windows 7 key. Didn't they finally end support for Windows 7? Or is
their support proper is only going to end in 2020. But yeah, they're trying to get everyone to move to Windows 10 desperately.
So what? Are the hardcore like, man, Windows 7, are they finally going to begrudgingly move to 8?
No, I think people wait or hate Windows 8 more than they do 10.
Huh. I got frustrated. I put Windows 10 on that tablet thing, and I just cut it off. It's like, nope, can't do this.
Yeah, no, sometimes I get to work, I turn on the XPS, and I see, oh, Windows is updating. Right, even though this has an NVMe SSD, I have enough time to get my mug, get a tea bag, go to the kitchen, make some tea, come back, and it's probably rebooted and it's finishing the update.
I just can't hang with it, man. Like, when you hit the Windows key and it brings all the tiles, that seems like a good idea if it worked. It don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do have a Windows 8 tablet that I also got very cheap. It's yeah, that's what I was actually planning on doing yesterday, but it don't boot Linux. Those stupid Atom with the 32-bit UEFIs are annoying because it won't even like find distributions. 32-bit distributions just won't boot them. You need a specially crafted 32-bit file on the installation medium.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully I'll get that sorted in time for next week's stream.
Because we need that for next week's stream?
It's a hardware thing.
I mean, I'm legitimately going to make a 10-second video about the FCA 1616 Linux. Because it's just not there, man. I've Googled long and I've Googled hard.
Yeah. No, I believe it.
And it's one of those things. It's one of those things where it's my response, nay, my duty for that one other person who was me last week going, I don't know if this works. Then you'll find it. You're like, oh, thank you, that one person, other person in the world who was going to try to do this under Linux.
Yeah.
What did you see, Nevercoder 69? What did you see?
Exactly. What did you see? I don't want to be the XKCD person, man. And it's easier to make a video and a little thing about it on the web zone than it is to go back to like the 16 places that are like 9 pages deep in some forum you've never heard of that never gets to an answer.
Nah.
OpenGL over Vulkan. Are they still working on that? What's that? Zinc, I think?
Yeah.
Yep. Plan 9. I'll grab a drink. We'll hang out for about another 5 minutes. I'm going to bounce out of here, man.
Yes.
Jill's got to cut on her red light.
Oh my god.
GNU Herd. I have to try a GNU Herd distribution at some point. Now that I have enough old hardware laying about that I could actually feasibly do that. Set up TeamViewer and Windows install over the phone. That'll be fun. You could just install Grub. Create a teeny tiny partition. Just nope. There you go. Grub lives there now. Let's see. TeamViewer has already let me help my mom with an issue going from Linux over here in the UK to Windows in Portugal. So no, TeamViewer seems to work unless they get hacked again.
They found some Portuguese like ship off the coast recently. And a bunch of gold and junk in it. They gotta go explore it. I mean, this thing's ancient. I just saw it. There was a link on BBC or whatever one morning. I was half paying attention because the only reason I remembered it is because I was like, wait, they could just send one of their drones to go check it out.
Yeah, get one of them Portuguese drones.
Oh, yeah. And I forgot to show my mug today. Seuss.
Spice trade ship found off the coast of Portugal.
Yay. So tomorrow is Seuss Expert Days here in Los Angeles. And if I can make it out of bed, I will be going. So...
400-year-old shipwreck.
None of that cheap 380-year-old shipwrecks.
No. This is vintage.
380 is just retro, man.
Let's see. Chinese porcelain, bronze artillery pieces.
See, this is, I know, Oni's in Australia because that's the only place that makes a damn bit of sense without just waking up.
Yeah, so that's why Matthew and Patrick are... Patrick's here in town because it's Seuss Expert Days tomorrow. Steve Husband! Porch and geese. That was good, Steve Husband.
Remember, you don't need kids to make dad jokes. Those geese look a bit diseased, if I'm going to be honest. They got lumps on their heads.
Yeah. And to be honest, goose meat, it's not good.
Of course you.
Think like old cow meat.
Have you, the way you describe it, I'm like, did you bother cooking it?
It's really chewy, it's really smelly, it's really, yeah, no, it's not good.
Peter always eats cold cow. Oh, old. I thought it was cold cow meat. Pedro knows how to cook.
I am the one who cooks. Yeah, no, really old cow meat is not good, and it stinks up whatever kitchen you attempt to cook it in. No.
Some people call it beef. Not this man. It's cow meat.
We don't have a dedicated word in Portuguese to convey the different types of meat. So it's just now. Animal name, meat. Animal name, meat.
There's no word for bacon.
Well, bacon
just busted your ass right there, didn't I?
Bacon is bacon wherever you go. Or smoked ham.
That's just ham with an unhealthy habit.
Oh no, he's gonna take this joke as far as he can. Steve. That's my boy.
That's not a bullshit.
So that's what cayennes are good for.
Aw, I love you, Steve Husband.
Man. Let's see.
Well, you're out of that damn country now, Orrin. That's good.
Seems everything's saved. Bonus soda. Come on. Yeah, alright. Looks good. Won't have to do surgery on it, I don't think. Rebel with that oink. Pork anarchy? I understand, like, the logic of, like, not eating pork, like, almost a millennia ago. Health-wise. Before refrigeration and really salting stuff properly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The fig thing I never understood, though.
Yeah.
I mean, why did that get thrown into any religious, monotheistic religious scripture? We're just like walking by, he's like, fuck figs. Nobody gets it.
Admittedly, I don't like figs.
I don't mind a fig every now and then.
They're good for preservation. Preservative.
Fig raisins.
Fig raisins? That's just a dried fig, man.
I actually like them.
It's like I like dried plums, also known as prunes.
Oh, yum. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind plums. Prunes I'll eat if they're cooked with some bacon.
That sounds about like the third most horrifying thing I could come up with, man. Prunes and bacon. Mm.
Yeah, it's you fry the bacon, and then you lightly cook the prunes in the bacon grease.
When do you put the blindfold on?
Wow.
Then you roll the bacon strips around the prunes, and I guess the toothpick is optional.
You're still standing at that point, right? Oh.
Yeah, no, they're good.
One thing I don't like is the ocean spray cranberries, man. Those things are nasty. They don't like the dried cranberries in the pouch?
No, I used to love those, the yogurt covered ones.
Oh no, that's next level horror. I wouldn't even attempt that.
Yeah.
I just popped, I need a snack. And I popped a mouthful and I just like yacked almost because they have added sugar in them. They're like sweet. Cranberries should not be sweet.
Yeah, I know. They need to be, kept sour. Yeah, I agree. They always sweeten those things.
But then again, I'm currently living in a country that puts sugar in its bread. So.
Yeah.
Steak?
That depends on if you just go to Tesco's and you buy the bacon strips. Yeah, no, those are not good. But there are a couple of butcher shops around here that will do proper bacon, and a couple of coffee shops and whatnot that they will get their own chops and chop the bacon themselves. That's really good.
Canada doesn't know how to bacon. They're like, this is bacon. I'm like, no, Canada, that's a slice of ham, dude. Come on, quit lying to people.
Massavoni.
Freedom bread. I make bread, man. Well, I made bread. I don't eat bread anymore.
I love homemade bread.
And I don't mean in a bread machine. That doesn't count, people.
Yeah, no, real bread. Real bread.
I was impressed.
No. You make bread in the microwave. What do you want about?
Man, one of my friends is like straight up had me going too. I don't think she was doing it. She's like, yeah, I made bread. It's like, you made bread? It's like, what? And she's like, yeah. It's like, oh man, really? Come on. That doesn't count. Homemade bread. It's the best bread. All right, beautiful people. We're going to dance out of here. I got to turn this into a show. I don't know what I'm going to do with that intro. I'm probably just going to leave it in.
Might as well.
Might as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That'd be brilliant. I'll see everyone Friday. And
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on Thursday. Keep an eye out. It will be a thing. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, chat room. We love you.